So weird being back here. Sorry, Wes, what was that? Oh yeah, we're gonna be about how...
Deep in the confines of an unknown underground storage facility, a man calmly and casually had brought a drum of an unknown substance into a laboratory filled with vats, containers of sulfuric acid, pictures of what one would assume would be his young son, and organs and pieces of flesh that looked freshly procured from a human body. Bright red blood glistening across the surface of these innards. The man shut off his music to continue in bitter silence as he suited up and donned a gas mask before exiting the room. He was prepared as if what he was about to do was a common procedure. His practice was unclear. We would soon see a man that would be passed out on the floor of one of these storage rooms, bloody, beaten, and dazed, awakening to an unwelcoming aura as the light would only illuminate everything in a soul-piercing blood red, barely able to even collect his bearings as he struggles to get off his knees, let alone on his feet. Parched, he would resort to drinking from a nearby bucket stained with the dried substance of a long-dried and unknown liquid. It was all nightmarish, yet he still yelled into the crimson-stained emptiness for help. Unbeknownst to him, a creature had been stirring in his nearby midst, breathing heavily like a predator stalking its prey, only beginning to move once it saw his target was conscious, creeping up behind him and ambushing in moments. The monstrous entity, human in shape, but its Homo sapien similarities ended there. Skin melded over its face like a thin mask, its eyes like slits like a twisted jack-o'-lantern stretched across the skin of its skull, exposed mouth bearing pointed fangs across its jaw, the skin separated like earthquaked lines seaming from its maw, wearing a hybrid jacket of flesh and fur. Whatever this being was, it was only insatiable in nature, immediately sinking its sharpened fangs and meaty claws into the man's torso to feast, eating him alive as the man in the gas mask walks in, the beast stopping its feeding frenzy as if frightened, and looking up at him with a calmed spirit when touched. This was a symbiotic, or at least dependent relationship, cursed with the bodies of untold amounts of innocent souls as food, its hollow breath resonating through its chest, chattering its teeth, waiting to continue its meal. The masked man looked at the carcass's keyring with a photo of him and a child. After this sight, the beast was denied further consumption of the entire body as it was dragged away, the masked man taking it to be hacked to pieces, to separate the limbs, to dissolve unneeded body parts in sulfuric acid, possibly to eradicate evidence, but also to throw the beast a bone, offering a leg of the dead man to the creature as it wisps it away into the dark. This was not the first nor last victim for the prepared slaughter of this unknown beast, not just food to it, but bait. What happened in those concrete catacombs, and more specifically, a nice family on a leisurely vacation away from home? Well, let's find out, as today we are discussing bait, when a family became food for a monster. Whatever the hell the monster is in this movie, it eats people. But you won't have to resort to that if you save some cash when you get the game you've been wanting thanks to today's sponsor, Aniba, a gaming marketplace home to over 40,000 digital products across all gaming platforms from PC to PlayStation to Xbox to even Nintendo. I did a Why You Wouldn't Survive on Outlast's Asylum last week, so it's a good time to get the game for dirt cheap on Steam with Outlast 1 as low as $3.99, Outlast 2 at $3.90, and even Outlast Trials down to just $12.77. And that's not even using Aniba's limited time discount codes. Each weekend for the next few weeks, use code GETTINGHOT at checkout to score an extra 9% off your entire purchase. Check the dates on screen or in the description below, and if that code does not work in your country, you're still in luck by using Lucky 7 at checkout for 7% off your entire order with an excellent Trustpilot score and 24/7 live support on all purchases. Aniba is fast, secure, and reliable. Check it out now by clicking the link in the description and pinned comment below and save some cash on the games you've been wanting to try right now at Aniba.com. A family of 4 is driving through England, having moved to Delaware in the United States to visit the mom, Angela's elderly mother. Apparently a touchy subject for her and the family, as the kids quarrel about the daughter Josie's locked diary and the son Lucas being openly reluctant about being here for the trip. Angela's brother Wes is already at the house as they prepare dinner for their arrival, cleaning up the abode for a mini family reunion, one that would never be. As dusk slowly encroaches and the family of 4 drives through the English countryside, we see the masked man in plain clothes walking the road by himself, laying out long lines of barbed wire across the pavement and camouflaging it with foliage, putting up a makeshift road closure sign to force a detour of any passerbys to lead them into a trap. The group slowly approach the ambush with the teenagers asleep and the parents bickering with one another about the arrival time. Seeing this frankly piss-poor sign, they argue with one another about what the next best course of action is. Lucas saying it doesn't look legit and to drive through. Josie says if they do end up driving past this sign that they'll probably end up in a sinkhole. Angela says there is a dirt track a few miles back that they can use as a side route to avoid driving backwards 40 more miles. The dad takes Angela's suggestion and turns back. In the middle of the dark, seeing the sign that looks like nothing official with GPS not noting closures, the red flags should have been blatantly obvious. But their dinner time took precedence over rationalization. A few miles, or kilometers, down the long and lonesome road, the rental car hits the barbed wire and somehow flips it like it were a cartoon character being tripped by a clothesline. Sure, barbed wire might pop a few tires, but to cause a full-on car flipping accident, this must be some adamantium level barbed wire. The wreck causes every family member to pass out. The trap had claimed its bait, or I would say claimed its victims. But the movie is called Bait. I don't know why it's called bait since they're not really bait, but whatever. The 4 awaken in the same red light Roxanne tinted room from before, all restrained and shackled to different parts of the area like they were in Saw. Angela panics and can only quietly stare around and breathe heavily as she checks on her family. The father was completely knocked out with blood gushing from his head. Lucas and Josie waking up to their shared nightmare in a muffled panic. They each tried to find ways out of their imprisonment, mainly by pulling at their chains or trying to find anything to use as a tool to snap the iron. To no luck, Josie pulls out a pen she used to unlock her diary earlier and tries to Bethesda pick her chain's lock. Her lockpick skill not leveled up enough, they then overhear howls and moans echoing down the halls. Not knowing what fate awaited them, Angela instructs everyone to pretend to be asleep. It is here the masked man walks in dragging a beaten woman to the middle of the room. She pleaded with him to let her go, but was ignored by the masked man like a plague doctor walking amongst the broken. The father, Drew, in his passed out state, mutters his wife's nickname as he dreams. Thinking that one of his victims was awake, he peers around, but not a muscle had moved as he left the room. The family get back up to work on their restraints as Angela approaches the injured stranger. No words except heavy hesitation and begging to no response, and no progress in sight with anybody there. The rumblings of the beast can be heard. His ravenous breaths and pounding feet drew all of their attention. The monster made its grand debut, obscured in shadows and sweat glistening from its face as it crawled on all fours, growling to intimidate them all as the stranger kept pleading with even it to just let her go home. Its response was of immediate assault, grabbing her head and ruminating its fangs into her stomach, eating her internal organs while she could only scream as she experienced the pain the entire time, dying as the family could only bear witness to what could very well be their soon-to-be outcome. Continuing its banquet as the stranger's eyeball plops in front of them to their sheer fright and disgust. Dragging on for ages, the children recoil as far back as they can, but Angela approaches the monster as it has intestines dangling from its choppers, flopping the organs around like a mostly feral mutt, proud over its kill and hungry like it hasn't eaten in months. Angela, not looking to find a weapon to defend her family or anything else, but tries to look it dead in the eye and asks it this. Talking to this man-like freak of nature, eating a person alive right in front of you, and you're going to be asking who they are? It's pretty damn obvious that this isn't really a human, let alone someone who could be spoken to or questioned. I can already see this is going to be quite a dumbfounded experience with the mom at the center of all of these stupid decisions. Meanwhile, while this is going on at the grandmother's house, Angela and them never made it to dinner, never called, never replied, completely missing. So Wes says he is going to go out and search for them by himself. With the devoured and now decaying body in front of them, the father wakes up frazzled and immediately looking to free his family, being informed of their rather dire situation with no way of breaking their locks. They did come to the conclusion that the monster will not attack them for now, purely because it too is locked to an unbreakable leash around its neck, limiting how far it can go, but certainly not limiting the crippling anxiety and terrifying presence it imposes on them. Stuck in a rock and a hard place, time was certainly the most critical factor to their survival. The dad, still bleeding from his head, says he probably does not have much time left, feeling that without treatment he would die. Angela snaps into action and continues to sit there doing nothing while telling her son to find something to wash Drew's face with to clean the blood off. While the daughter just sits there in panic mode, Lucas finds a bucket thinking it was full of water, only to find it was filled with blood, with a dismembered arm randomly sitting atop a nearby locker, throwing it down in shock with everyone else just kinda chilling there. Lucas hears the monster salivating over the one-piece meal in the other room as Lucas throws the arm through the blinds into its room. It might have been an arm, but it still could have been something to use to distract the monster or even arm oneself. The commotion brings the masked man back into the room. The family says people will come looking for them as they try to get answers out of the stranger, wanting to know why they were specifically targeted for this, with primo acting from the dad.
Talk to me, goddammit!
The man in the biohazard mask finally opens his obscured mouth, saying that they're lucky. Not sure getting launched by barbed wire and getting fed to a monster in a saw-like fashion would be considered anything of the Irish, but go on. That their luck is due to the corpse on the floor in front of them, acting as a barrier protecting them from the beast. That the flesh of it will serve as a distraction until it is completely eaten by morning, at which time the man in the mask says the family must decide who will be served up to be eaten by the monster next. Gee, I wonder how this will play out. A heavily injured dad that's like, I don't have much time left, with a movie that's kind of focusing on family? I wonder.
We'll have to lighten the ship, which means one of us has to stay behind. Bart? Lisa? Fine, me.
Don't worry, we'll be fine.
I'm saying goodbye to everything I ever loved. Oh, a marshmallow!
Before leaving for the night, Angela asks for water and a med kit. Funnily enough, the man looks at the dying, opened up carcass in front of them and then looks back at the mom like, "Are you mad? There ain't no way some brown tear med kit is healing that." But she addresses that her husband has a severe head wound that needs to be dressed, trying to trick the man by saying the wound could get infected and pass the infection onto the monster if eaten. But the man doesn't waver, simply saying that there is some water in the bucket in the corner, and then coldly continues to say that if they don't want the patriarch of their family to suffer, that the simple answer to all their problems would be to give his body to the monster first. Honestly, despite how predictable this all is, it is kind of interesting to see it develop, not offering medical supplies whatsoever as he only sees the family as livestock to be fed to the monster. Wes's investigation sees him running into the same roadblock the family was stopped by before, seeing the rinky-dink sign, and instead of just going, whatever, let's U-turn and leave it without even a second thought, he gets out of the car and sees, holy hell, a board full of missing persons posters. If the family had just looked earlier, just slightly to the left of that stop sign, they would have seen all of these missing pictures and gotten some kind of clue. But nah, let's have the brother just see something they were completely blind to. The only good thing about this revelation was when the man in the mask told the family before he left them overnight was that he would see them on the board. I was questioning what the hell that meant at first until seeing this, expecting the family to have similar posters printed trying to find them. The only question was, did an English police precinct post these here, or was the man in the mask finding the posters and putting them at the typical stopping point as some sort of wall of fame for his monster's feedings? Either way, a corny paper trail that should have been discovered much sooner, since he apparently returns here and posts over a dozen missing people posters that most likely disappeared in that area, or more specifically, right at this stop. Sure, police may have posted them here as their last possible whereabouts, but the former seems more likely for a cornball watch like this. Wes informs his son at home of what's going on before driving up to a parked car nearby. A suspicious man cocks his head towards him. Wes asks if he has seen a family of 4. The man gets weird, but stays monotone, saying they probably followed the dirt road to the main highway, and to cover his own tracks that he was simply there to set up closure signs for a dirt bike race that was happening there tomorrow. And the sign that Wes saw was probably moved there because it was stolen by young punks fucking with drivers taking that route. While it is a sketchy story, Wes almost buys it, until the man just randomly spouts some wisdom to him, saying that his wife told him that tough people get through tough times, and that he is sure that the family will turn up. Wes is able to peer at something in the man's car, but the camera angle here makes it near impossible to tell in the few seconds it appears on screen. I was thinking it's maybe a wheelbarrow and there's some duct tape there. Hard to say, but it's got Wes's eyes bulging out of his skull as he drives off into the night. But we do find out what it is. The man moves his arm to reveal, okay, I'm stupid, that wasn't anything like what I said. It was just a milk crate full of, my God, beverages. The music gets intense and eerie, and the movie is painting this as a grand revelation. I'm just not seeing it. Maybe it's the dehydration of my throat from writing the script and recording it, but it's just drinks there. Maybe they are beverages the family were bringing to the dinner, or maybe it was some of their favorite brands, but just what? The man gets home to a loving wife reading her book, telling her that he took the dirt road so the car is somewhat filthy that he needs to wash, but more so he needs to find a first aid kit. Not because she is in on this whatever the thing and I shit her husband is getting into, but because she believed a lie that he told her of the night before of him finding the wrecked car with the 4 family members and apparently sitting with them all night till paramedics arrived and took them to the hospital, an alibi to cover his ass since he was gone all night. But it's unknown if the wife knows anything of what's going on. Most likely not. We keep an eye back on the family when we see Lucas holding up the disembodied eyeball and throwing it away like he just pulled a clump of hair out of the shower drain. Why pick it up and dangle it and then act all grossed out by it? You saw it happen, and it wasn't anywhere near you. Are you trying to get brownie baby points with your mom? The dad wants everyone to check their pockets and tells his daughter that looks like a grown-up version of the deaf girl from A Quiet Place to use her hairpin to pick the lock. The mom gets pissed, saying they already tried that, dumbass. Wanting to do something instead of getting pissy, he pickpockets the dead body in front of them, but still comes up dry. The family mouths off to him, being sarcastic, asking if he thinks he will find
a gun.
He does take her belt and think to use the pokebit as a stabbing device. During the procurement, he is warded off by the monster, having no terror radius until he is already on top of the body, sprawling over it like an animal defending its kill, scrawling at them and then backing away. Okay, I can't keep up the dark and foreboding narration, or at least what was left of it. Is that thing in the middle of its neck the actor's mask? Is it? or isn't it? I know he has a jacket, or it has a jacket to hide the rest of the body from having to be monster makeup, but at least blend it at the neck or cover it up completely. Like, editor, zoom in on that flap on its neck halfway there. That's a mask, right? I'm not just seeing shit. I know I'm being anal, but hey, if there's one thing I know I am that a lot of people have told me in my life, it's that I'm a pain in the ass. Speaking of assholes, the mom says she won't let the monster touch any of them. A shite place over there says, oh, what can you do? Can you teenagers shut the fuck up? You're not contributing anything. I get it. Angst and hormones and all of that. But taking the piss out of everything that people actually do to stay sane or do anything to survive is getting old fast. But the mom's next best idea is to, okay, hold hands and go to sleep right in front of the monster. You're gonna try and sleep in front of the thing you saw eat a person alive, and we're told that will eat one of you in the morning. As girls in Leonardo DiCaprio's preferred dating age range would say, hello! Instead of spending the night trying to make something to defend yourself or find a way out, you're just gonna have everyone take a nap. But not just that, go to sleep and have all your guards completely down. All because the psycho guy in the mask said that the monster wouldn't go past the corpse in the room. You're really gonna take his word for it? What if he just said that to get your guards down? Congrats, you're now a Jack-in-the-Box late night munchie meal. God, that's stupid as hell. We transition back to Granny's house with a cop there discussing the missing persons report, with nothing coming up until Wes brings up the dirt bike race that he was told about. And then everyone stares at each other for a while. Oh, the mystery becomes clearer. Wow. Such Gaming. Actually, I'm on a tangent here a bit, but it's funny as hell, I still go by Wow Such Gaming, when most of my content over the last year isn't even games anymore. If you didn't know, the channel name was a placeholder name I just half-ass slapped together in the first year of the channel, thinking I would never make this a career or that this channel would take off. In the second year, I saw the numbers and asked my audience if I should change my name to Zackass. Yes, I had that name before the fat dude in the new Jackass movies. I made the name for MySpace all the way back in 2006. The audience back then said, nope, you are stuck with Wow Such Gaming. So there you go. You got some WoW trivia today. But back to the film, the kids are somehow sound asleep as the parents pressure one another about being saved and asking what the monster even is. Just kind of the same dialogue from before, over and over. I guess they're trying to fill up that typical feature-length film runtime. The cop then asks Wes back at the house about the family's descriptions. Apparently did not even consider to do that when he told the cop they were missing. Yes, they have to be gone for 24 hours, but still, he doesn't even consider going to the site where Wes saw the sign of the guy that lied about the races and the wall of missing people posters. Nah, the cop just says, oi bruv, sit tight, call this number if you find out anything else, and hands them his business card. You're the fucking police! Just dial 911. I swear to God, you'd think these people were with the stonecutters the way he hands them this card.
Oh, and don't bother calling 911 anymore. Here's the real number.
Angela, which funnily enough, IMDb has her name listed as Andrea, so either someone got something wrong or the IMDb people cannot understand British accents enough to hear the inflection difference between Angela and Andrea. But Angela asks her husband what they are going to tell the masked man, on who they will choose as food. Not genuinely going to, but just as words to the psycho. The kids wake up and start freaking out, knowing somehow that it's morning in this closed off cellar with no way to tell time. And the son now starts trying to do something, akin to a junkyard dog flailing about against his restraints. I'm glad you got your sleep, kids. Now show the monster your tummies. Lucas asks if either the monster's collar will be removed or one of their chains when the next feeding time happens. You know what? That's a legitimate question considering the limited length of each party's restraints. As Angela says, it's more than likely the monster will stay chained up, as the handler showed some fear of the beast too. I don't see how she picked up on that though. The dude's body language was pretty still at all times, and you really can't see any expressions behind that mask. The masked man walks in with a wheelbarrow. Maybe that's the one I thought I saw in the car. The conversation starts with a good morning and immediately goes into why he is doing this to them specifically. The man's answer was simple. This thing needed to eat. The masked man is questioned about his caring nature, and he takes offense to it, using the thick tension in the air to take his mask off and reveal his face. Looking at him more, he looks like if Jeffrey Dahmer faked his death and fled to England to start over and raise a family. This statement feels kinda on the nose and kinda messed up, but since he tells them that the monster only eats human flesh, the monster apparently is too picky to eat anything else, like a spoiled child. I'm betting that thing is his son that mutated or something. Acting like he cared about them before, he then brings up how he met Wes face to face during his search for them, freaking Angela out and asking what he did to him, and then we get this long ass scene of dead silence, them looking at each other for 13 seconds with him smiling. We are getting some mixed signals here, Jeff. The origins of the creature are revealed though. Jeff says he just stumbled on the creature, scared, hungry, and fending for itself. So he brought it here somehow by himself and eventually determined it only ate Soylent Green, so he kidnapped dozens of people, all while his wife was none the wiser. And then he goes around asking how each person would taste. The daughter having nice firstborn meat, the son with sprouty flesh, and saying this about him with a creepy ass smile.
He likes a challenge.
Okay, dude, you are not beating the allegations. He then suddenly goes from Dahmer to Negan when the dad offers himself up for sacrifice and whips out a bat covered in barbed wire, dragging the dad away and putting him in place of the corpse, with the former corpse barely eaten at all, mind you, being plopped in the wheelbarrow for processing. I get he wants to take the parts to make a 4-piece meal out of the dead body, but why did the monster just dig a tiny hole in the person and just leave it be? Better yet, wouldn't a ravenous and hungry monster just drag the body away? If you're really selling the idea of him wanting to eat the entire body of a person, why not do that? I mean, I know it's a low budget horror movie. It's there to have something of near gore, but not too much, but it just doesn't make sense. Jeff threatens the family and then knocks the dad to the ground to end cap him. No survivors to pick him back up. He taunts the family with the med kit he had brought. So the whole thing of him asking the wife where it was, going to get it, bringing it back, and then just pulls it out in front of them to be like, yeah, you can't get it. He did free the dad from his shackles after stunning him, and then leaves the room like some sort of James Bond villain, just trusting that the prisoner will die while he is not there. The monster slowly approaches him as he just sits there and tells his family to stay back. Homie, I know you're injured, but you can still, I don't know, roll your body like a wiener on a gas station roller. But nah, just sit there. He sucker punches it with the belt stabby bit he got earlier, stuns it, the daughter tries to attack it, but gets stalled by her own chain, and then smacked like a little bitch. What a good game plan that you guys putting together on the spot. The dad tries to attack the monster again, and gets his fist caught like it's in the middle of a DBZ fight. You could have just avoided directly fighting this monster that is most likely stronger than an average human mother and gotten the fuck up, and then found something long in the room you are free to walk around in and whack the monster to death. But no, now we got the whole family and the monster playing tug of war with your body. The monster cheats at the picnic game by having a picnic snack on his arm, gnawing off half of it to leave him a bloody stump, instantly becoming like that one Zed in Shaun of the Dead. If you had just had any sense, it would not have cost you half off of an arm and a leg. Blood splatter gifs start spewing out of his stub to show that he has indeed been bisected. They now all take him out of reach to beg him not to die. Please don't go, Daddy, please. I mean, you could have just done that in the first place, just inched him away, but nope. Dad needed to die for no reason. It's only now that the mom says, we need to make a plan. Bitch, you had all night to do that. Were you just trying to find a way to get your hubby out of the picture? Are you one of those chicks that fawns over serial killers, and when you saw Jeffy Boy's face, you're like, ooh, I want a piece of that? The monster then has a piece of the dad's arm as we see Wes has arrived at Jeff's house telling his wife of his family going missing in the area. He sees pictures of, yep, God damn it, a son. It's his son, isn't it? Jeff's wife says the boy went missing ages ago as well. She prepared him tea, but he never takes a sip, stressing how the drink will get cold and that he needs to drink it. She's probably in on it, and she's trying to Cosby anyone that comes snooping around, being ominous and talking about how family makes us stronger. Stronger like a monster? When Wes's son comes knocking at the front door, Wes says he needs to be off. The wife gives him some wisdom as he is parting. Tough people get through tough times. And this LA Noir aha moment gets expounded upon when Wes spots the beverages from earlier that meant nothing the night before in the room. It really didn't make sense that he hyper-focused on them before, but they avoid getting drugged as the wife glares at them, knowing that they know that she knows where the family may know where they know where they are knowing. Back to the lab again. Oh no! We get a long sequence of Jeff cutting up body parts and dissolving the rest as he looks at pictures of his son. Having a flashback sequence through a semi-fisheye lens, we see Jeff without facial hair to signify to the audience that this is indeed the past, and he is still innocent since he does not have that current devil goatee. Running through the forest, yelling for his missing son Harry, and I guess he finds his mangled body in the woods because we get 8 different angles of his face reacting in this poorly acted shock. I guess the monster ate up his son? No damn clue, but we flash forward as he dons his Dahmer glasses and talks to his wife on the phone, and she doesn't alert him, just asks when he's coming to dinner. So is she in on it, or was she that concerned over the tea's heat level? Regardless, Jeff looks at Drew's wallet and fondles the family photo. Wes comes to the finale conclusion and deduces that because the wife said Jeff works late hours at the brewery, that they must all be there. Finally, please show up and end this already. My voice is going out and my brain can't take much more. But back in the brewery cellar, the family decides they have to wipe up the dead dad's blood to make it look like they didn't drag him closer. Why the hell does that matter? Okay, sure. Jeff is swinging his bat in the hallway in an anger-fueled practice. He walks in and questions why the monster won't finish eating the dead dad's body. Bro, he barely even ate the last body. What are you on about? Jeff then says the body will get cold, just like his wife did with the tea. He then grabs the daughter by the hair, punches the mom, and the dad gets up like a zombie, and we get this whole dumbass fight sequence that puts everyone right back to the ground and back to square one, like that none of that even mattered, with the father dazed again on the floor with the monster right over him. Jeff gets ready to glen the mom's head open, but leaves himself open to get kicked in the nuts. What is this, jackass? Good job there, Steve-O. If you're going to be sitting there with a long-range melee weapon, why would you get close enough to get hit in the nards? He gets mad that she outplayed him and grabs her widely by her turtleneck with one hand as if it's strangling her. The daughter latches onto his back like a jockey. She falls off of him, but it's too late. The son grew some balls once Jeff, whose actual name is Paul Marlin apparently, according to IMDb, but that can't be really reliable, drops the bat. Yes, he drops the one weapon he has. Lucas, now basically saying, I am Negan, has Paul flashback in the middle of this sequence, like it's the middle of the best part in a One Piece arc, saying he wanted to protect his son. So he saw his son was eaten alive, and for some fuck-ass reason, the monster that ate it just was on the ground, disabled and in pain. The only thing left of his son was a bloody backpack. No parts, no skin, no organs, no bones, no nothing. Just this thing acting like it ate some diarrhea-inducing lettuce. Was the son poisoned, or was he given a really bad diet to make this thing sick? Did Paul here feel guilt for the creature making it feel this way, or did he assume his 10-year-old boy turned into this man-sized pumpkin-haired flesh hairball, or whatever you want to frickin' call it? Who knows? And you thinking about it, I guess the wife had nothing to do with any of this. This movie is such a mess. Sure, grief is powerful at making people do irrational things, but this is just pure, unadulterated R-wordation. In the present, the monster approaches as he is about to bash his fucking head in as he swears on his mum in the slowest manner possible. Paul gets to stun him and the bat goes flying, but not before the very chains that bound them before are used to strangle Paul. At the same time, the dad yells at it and bangs the bat on the ground to draw the beast's attention away from his family. The family finally does something together as Paulie Dahmer drops to the floor after he either has his neck snap or he's asphyxiated, but he is down. The twisted man dead. The dad comes back from the darkness into the room, bloody as hell, to throw them the keys and tell them that he loves them. As the monster rushes in going blah, 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 and starts nibbling on his neck. Oh, now he likes more than just the stomach and cut apart limbs. Sure, the shock of it causes the son to somewhat pass out, but they are able to open their locks with the keys and get ready to escape as the monster is salivating and growling and just at the chance of eating them at the edge of his leash. When, oh, but how the bloody hell? Paul is alive and grabs the daughter's leg. She shoves him off, screams, and kicks him as he is left to be directly face to face with the monster he has all these mental issues with, and he has been feeding this whole time, peering directly into its eyes or face slits, which, by the way, side note again, all the cover arts and posters for this movie show a monster that looks nothing like this. Like the art shows a dude with pointed ears, decayed and scratched skin, a mouth of pretty inconsistent teeth, a nose, and for the biggest part, eyes, like actual eyes in an actual skull socket. Did they just not give a flying fuck? What is that thing on the poster? How does it relate to the monster the movie's centered around? Did they just pop in a spirit Halloween mask that they found on Google, used it as a prompt for an AI image generator, and slap some lame-ass blood splatter PNGs and skulls and shit all over it? What a rip, dude. This is some blatant false advertising. I know I say that a lot, but this is probably the worst example of a movie poster being nothing like the movie, kind of like that 28 months later we covered years back. Now, if you're gonna be lazy, at least use frames from your movie that you shot and spent money on as prompts for your AI generation. If you're gonna be that lazy, at least use what you have done. Like, damn, dude. The movie then hits its climax when the daughter turns around like she earned the victory to watch Paul get bitten in the neck. This monster loves biting dudes in the neck. Paul mutters some bullshit about his son and they get out. There's no closure on the mom, if she was in on it or not, and we don't know if I guess it's the son, and he was like, okay, I guess this is my son now. Paul died. They cry over their dead dad and husband. That's it. They get away. There's like 10 minutes of them dealing with how they feel and limping around the basement of this brewery, but we don't need to go into depth about that. Please, let's just end this. Oh, but one more thing before we finish. The monster broke loose from the basement. He is out in broad daylight. I cannot wait for the sequel, where some random ass dude finds the monster and pulls another paw and feels bad for it, but tries to train the creature and master it. The movie will be called Masturbate. That about wraps up this look into whatever the hell all that was. What do you think? Is there something I missed or should have explained more? Let me know down below and what you want to see next. Make sure to support the channel by either contributing to me on Patreon as a patron or becoming a YouTube channel member to be featured on this list here. Also, don't forget to get you some gamer subs with my code WOW at checkout for 10% off your entire order. That is at gamer subs to get some cool waifu cups, some awesome flavors like titty milk, and more. Use my code WOW at checkout for 10% off. Until next time, I'm Zach S, aka Wow Such Gaming. Never forget to stay happy, stay healthy, stay sane, and stay away from the bait. And most importantly, stay wow.